Hey everyone, my name's Pupsker, and today we're going over what I would say is Warframe's biggest problem, as well as I want to know from you, what would you say is Warframe's biggest problem? Of course, there are many things people consider a problem with Warframe. It is by no means a perfect game. One thing I want to say though is I don't really consider the microtransactions a huge deal because it is a free-to-play game. Most of the microtransactions that are important or expensive are cosmetic and don't actually affect the game, but it does have a small amount that greatly affect the game, like weapon slots and Warframe slots, and those can also be earned in-game but not actively. It's only like mission-based and event-based, etc. So it's very rare, I would say. It's always event-based, what am I saying? So yeah, it's rare. So I would say they get they're kind of crappy with the real microtransactions, but not the worst. So they get a half pass, but they could do better. Mainly because I'm pissed off because the game has hundreds of weapons and so many Warframes, but so little slots that you start off with. Naturally though, you can trade your way up to get platinum. So again, it's not the biggest problem. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Another issue people bring up a lot is the end game, and that somewhat ties into what I would say the biggest problem is, because when people talk about endgame in Warframe, it is essentially just grinding. The game doesn't really have an endgame per se. Like, you have to do arbitrations, those are definitely endgames. You have to do the daily sorties, and then you do Nightwave, and you just play whatever events are out. But there's no huge endgame goal, because the game doesn't have endgame raids or bosses. It just has higher level missions that you could go on for longer, but people have already made invincible builds that can go like hundreds of waves essentially. So I don't know, Warframe doesn't have an endgame. While I don't consider that the biggest problem, I do consider that a very big problem still. But Warframe itself isn't quite made to have an endgame like that, so that'll tie into my biggest complaint. And trust me, there are a lot of smaller things, but I just wanted to get those two out of the way. I would say my biggest complaint is Warframe doesn't know what in God's name it wants to be. Like, they don't know. They have no fucking clue what the hell they're doing. At first, right? Do you remember when Warframe first came out? It was a clunky ass shooter where you could also do melee and you had kind of cool jumps, right? It was bad. It was not great. Oh my god, no, it was horrible. But they eventually fixed it and it became a lot better. The mechanics and jumping and all of that became a lot more fluid, and they slowly fixed that. So, you know, they slowly figure that out. It was a very rough release, but they did it. They had a vague concept of, okay, steel machine guy kind of things. They have powers, and yeah, then they went from there. They did cool stories, etc., but here's the thing. They don't know what they fucking are. Okay, so Warframe is kind of an MMO. It's a little bit MMO-y, right? It has a lot of aspects of a traditional MMO, but it is not a traditional MMO. I think it is fair to call it an MMO, if you will, but I don't think it is a traditionally made or looked at MMO. And it also has ARPG mechanics like Diablo, Borderlands 3, you know, looter shooter mechanics. But the issue is, there is so much to get in this game, and so much of it is fucking garbage, and so much of that garbage you have to level. But what for, right? What for? So, right, Warframe does know what it wants to be. Its leveling system, mastery rank, goddamn near meaningless past a certain level. It is used to unlock a variety of things, trading, items, etc., but past a certain level, it's just used to increase daily limits of crap. It is such a stupid, worthless leveling system. I'm sorry, but mastery rank in Warframe is by most means a worthless leveling system. It increases daily caps. That's essentially what it's used for. And I mean, that's not bad or anything. It's a good system, but the fact that that's its main leveling system in the game, like that's the, oh, you're so good at the game, it's your master rank. Yeah, it's just such a mess. Like, who gives a shit? It's so worthless. Like, what was Warframe thinking? It's like it wanted to be a mobile game, but it also wanted to be a PC game. So they threw that mechanic in, expecting like, oh, there'll be a lot of like pay trade, and there is, because there's a real market. Oh my god, it's just so weird. Pretty much, it looks like the master rank system was originally, hear me out, like a mobile game VIP system, but then when they got money, they like quickly changed it over to the main leveling system. I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like to me. It works fine. Realistically, it works fine. I just think it's weird that that is the main leveling system. And then you like level each individual weapon in Warframe, which is fine if so many weapons weren't so god awful. Like the reason Borderlands is fun is because you can use a lot of the weapons you pick up. Same with Diablo. The issue with Warframe is there's a lot of meta weapons and it's very noticeable. And then when they released ribbons, it's like, oh shit, if you have a weapon with a ribbon and a good ribbon, all your weapons without ribbons are garbage. So they even boosted that even more. So they kind of made it really hard for people to give a shit about a lot of the weapons, especially when they don't have ribbons. So they don't really know what they want to do with that. They did figure out their main fighting mechanic, right? They have, you know, 10-0 Warframe weapons, etc. You have your Warframe and your weapons with your companion, and that's cool. They figured that out. But they keep adding newer stuff, right? They eventually added Archwing, and by God, at this point, I'm just gonna say it. Archwing's worthless. Nobody likes Archwing. It's not an enjoyable thing. People have been saying it for years, but DE's like, whatever. We made it. Sorry, guys. So, and people are expecting it to eventually get fixed. So maybe one day that'll get fixed. But people don't really care about Archwing, so that's kind of dead. Major but dead game mechanic that the game has. It was cool when they brought it to Plains of Eidolon and to Cetus or Valis, sorry, but that was just used for movement, really. So I don't think it's a big thing. But they didn't really know what the hell they were doing. They wanted a space looter shooter MMO type mobile game looking ass game. So I just think they don't know. They have a pretty cool story, but it's not like the greatest. It is pretty good in a lot of parts, but then you have like side stuff like Nightwave, which is also pretty cool, but a lot of it's like, yeah, whatever too. But I don't think anything poorly of their stories by any means. So they get a pass on that. They do that just well. Obviously everything could be better. Everything could always be better. That's why I'm going over like the major things for sure. But you have your 10-0, and that is yet another way to play the game, right? The game keeps making new things to unlock and play in the game that are both not separate, but also completely separate from the old systems. So like any Archwing stuff you do, worthless, you gotta start all over. You got your Warframe type leveling, okay, good, that's its own thing. You got your 10-0 leveling, it works with leveling with Warframes, but it's mainly used for Eidolon hunting. Okay, cool. Oh, and some utility. Okay, great. Oh, now we have this K drive. What the hell is that? Oh, that's just like another rep system. Why? I don't know, just to unlock some more cool stuff. Oh, also, what's the point of K drive? Because we unlocked the goddamn Archwing? Oh, we don't know. I don't know. It seems like the game, its biggest problem is it doesn't know. It keeps adding stuff ham-fisted and they stop supporting it. Oh, hey Conclave, how are you doing? Holy shit, you still exist? Wait, we haven't really supported PvP properly and nobody gives a crap about Conclave, but it still exists and has pretty major rewards in it? Whatever, screw it. Like, they keep abandoning stuff. DE just doesn't know what they want Warframe to be. Are they gonna make an endgame? Do they even want to make the game endgame? Like, my god, we are on Melee 3.0. Third fucking iteration of Melee mechanics. Are you kidding me? Holy crap, honestly, that is pretty unheard of in a game. Every 3 years they go through major Melee refreshes because the devs, like, they kind of don't quite know what they're doing. Holy crap, imagine if they got Melee right the first time and they had to spend 0 time updating it. And this isn't necessarily like a bad thing on the devs. I think it's good that they're going back and fixing things. I think the major issue is they don't know what they want the thing to be. Like, they create it, but it's very ham-fisted. They don't take their time to flesh it out, so they keep redoing it, and they keep having to fix it over and over. And the more they add these mechanics and these different ways to level, etc., they have to keep adding new stuff, or else it quickly becomes old dead content that the only way people will keep playing it is through your daily Nightwave, which, trust me, if you don't want to do something, Nightwave isn't the funnest way to do it. That being said, I do think it's a good way to get out and play the game. But again, it's yet another new system for crap to do in the game, and yeah, it's also becoming more tiresome. Again, biggest problem with Warframe is essentially it doesn't know what it wants to be. And I hope one day it figures it out and stops wasting random time on random crap that they quickly stop supporting once they create it. Even though it's content that is made to be supported, Eidolon hunts, Tenno attacking. There's so much stuff. And I'm hoping Empyrean's the same. Like, I hope they actually support it, but I know they can't because that would cost so much money if they keep supporting every small thing they added. So yeah, it's kind of a mess, but I really hope DE eventually figures out what they want their game to be and can, do that. They've been talking a lot about how they want to rework the whole damage system, so that's insane because damage in this game is essentially worthless, right? And the way bosses can work is you one-shot them, they go into an invincibility phase, you do something, they go out of that invincibility phase, you one-shot them, rinse and repeat. That is the most mechanically hard a boss in Warframe can technically be right now, because you can mod your weapons to hit ungodly amounts of damage, and it's just not fair, unless you nerf everyone, and that's still not fair. So yeah, the game has no proper way to do endgame bosses, but yeah, it is what it is. They do need to figure it out and actually decide what they want to do. There's a lot to unpack in this video, technically, I know, but the main takeaway is Digital Extremes doesn't really know what the hell they're doing. They just kind of keep ham-fisting things together and stop supporting it, and then they create a bunch of dead content that people look at and be like, huh, what the fuck? Why'd I do all that? So yeah, thanks Digital Extremes. Please, you need to support your game or it'll probably die. That's not all. Just seriously figure out what you actually want your game to be. Figure out the systems you want to enhance, make good, make funner. More fun. Yeah, talking's weird. Sorry about that. So, guys, I hope you liked the video. And I seriously want to know what you think about all that. And if you think there's anything very specific that is ruining the game. So, let me know. See ya. Okay, bye. Peace.